what's up, witches? I'm back. I'm feeling energized. Just got back from the North Central Ostara gathering, whole celebration of spring, and I'm feeling refreshed, recharged, and I just really wanted to sit down and film a quick little intuitive tarot reading because I haven't done one in a while. I'm just kind of in the mood to do a little reading, and I thought with this past weekend just being the first day of spring equinox, starting off the new season, what better time to do a kind of intuitive collective tarot reading for everybody out there to kind of kick things off for spring and see what this new season of rebirth and renewal holds for us. So I'm gonna flip you around, I think, and let's just pull some cards and have fun. And we'll see what this brand new season of spring has in store for us. Two of Cups. The Five of Wands. And the King of Cups. Okay, so Two of Cups. Cups represent emotions and relationships. The element of water. This one depicts a couple standing under a cherry blossom tree holding their cups. Very spring vibes. Now is the season when all of the cherry trees and flowering trees are starting to bloom, so just this card in itself kind of gives spring energy to me. And as you can see, it's just all about love and relationships. And as the card that kind of follows the ace in the suit, every card is just kind of building up from that point of reference. So this is kind of, the building of something new. Maybe you're about to embark on a new relationship, whether that be love or just friendship or just some kind of new emotionally fulfilling venture. It just gives like very fertility, love, and abundance energy that we're definitely feeling this time of year. But then the Five of Wands kind of shows these two people in combat or struggle, and this almost seems to be more of like a friendly competition, so it might not necessarily be like this huge knockdown, drag-out fight, but you might still kind of have a bit of a competition going on in the spring. Maybe you're competing for a new job or just kind of still dealing with some combative or competitive people in your own life, and you kind of feel like you're still playing this game with them of having to kind of struggle and vie to establish your hold in life or establish your position. Or if you want to kind of carry it over from this, maybe you're embarking on a new relationship, but it's not all like honeymoon phase, stars and roses at first. Like maybe it's kind of like you're struggling in a relationship to either find that happy place or get back to it. Which kind of leads me into the third card, the King of Cups. Because the King of Cups, as opposed to the Two of Cups, is almost like this suit coming full circle. He's fully established. He's the king of this realm. This card definitely gives me Njord vibes. He's just sitting on his throne with some kind of like watery plants, almost like maybe willow fronds in the background, but he just kind of exudes this very calm and not necessarily assertive, but just like strong and grounded in himself. So maybe you're in a new relationship, it's kind of a struggle, you're trying to find your footing, and this card kind of represents just a man who is in touch with his emotional side, has a high emotional IQ. So maybe you're going to get into a relationship with someone who embodies these traits, and you'll find, or maybe like after you kind of go through this initial struggle period, you'll be the one that kind of finds your ground, finds your sense of balance and security, either within yourself and your own emotions or just within relationships. But he kind of just represents someone who is in tune with his emotions, aware of them, and knows how to process and handle them. Like, he doesn't let his emotions overrule him. So let's pull a couple more. 7 of Swords, 10 of Wands, and Page of Swords. So I think we might have seen this card in the last reading, the 7 of Swords, which kind of just shows this guy being sneaky. He's sneaking around and hiding with his bag of swords, and swords being tied to the element of air and traits of like knowledge, logic, intellect, and communication with others. So perhaps if you're undergoing kind of this period of struggle and conflict and things aren't quite settled yet, you might need to kind of play your cards close to your vest for a while. As we're kind of entering this period of growth and renewal and starting new projects, sometimes you need to like confide in others what your goals and your plans are, so that you have like kind of people to hold yourself accountable to and to help you in reaching your goals. But sometimes it's better to kind of keep your plans to yourself. Just kind of work on building up whatever it is that you want to work on in the background, and don't necessarily like convey your every plan and your every movement to everybody, because even if you're not willingly or consciously in a competition, other people might be viewing it that way. So it might be best to just kind of like you do you in the background, and then once everything is like ready to come to fruition, or like you've already done the thing, that's the time to share. Or like if you're kind of feeling this sense of struggle or competition, like yeah, maybe you just kind of need to take a step back, stop fighting outwardly, go behind the scenes, move more subtly and more tactfully. Because the 10 of Wands, in contrast, is kind of this guy literally trying to walk blindfolded while juggling 10 batons, 10 staffs. And the wands or rods or staffs are tied to the element of fire, creativity, and passion. So maybe because of this sense of like competitiveness, or like you gotta establish your place in the world or try to get ahead, maybe you're putting that on yourself and trying to take on too much, because this guy is struggling. He's already on precarious footing. He can't even see where he's going. The sky is colorful, but it kind of looks a little bit uneasy, and it makes me kind of feel uneasy in the background, like kind of a restless, stormy sky. And so this guy, he's just kind of on a dangerous road. He can't see where he's going. He's trying to take on too much. Maybe you're trying to take on too many projects, or you bit off more than you can chew, and now you're kind of struggling to juggle everything all at once, which I am definitely prone to. And you're at risk of dropping everything and not being able to hold on to any of it. So with the Page of Swords here, swords also being, once again tied to air and intellect, but he's the page. He's not quite a knight yet. He's still kind of new to the game. This guy, he's kind of off on his own in the snow. It kind of looks like there's a driving wind coming at him, but he's wielding his sword, he's facing it down, and he's kind of seems very determined despite whatever obstacles and hardships are being thrown at him. He's going to continue down this road, continue on this quest, and it might specifically be more of an intellectual venture, whereas with these like creative plans and keeping things too close to your chest, maybe you feel like everyone's in competition with you, or might be, and so you feel like you can't reach out to anyone for that help and assistance. You feel like you have to do everything secretly behind the scenes on your own, and now you've taken on too much. And this guy, he's only holding one object, the sword. And the sword to me is like the sword of truth. The sword of intellect is able to slice through all of the indecision, cut through all the bullshit. And so maybe you just need to kind of take a step back, realize that you can't carry all of these items, cast off what you can no longer hold or hold on to, and it's okay to kind of let some things fall by the wayside. Maybe you'll come back to them later, maybe you won't. But this kind of represents setting out on a new path, a new adventure. He's on a new quest, and with it being the suit of swords and that whole intellectual, logical side of us, maybe it just kind of represents cutting away anything that's no longer serving us and taking a step back, really analyzing what we've been doing and trying to decide where we want to go from there. Maybe it's time to abandon some quests and narrow it down to one, or take up an entirely new quest. So let's pull 3 more really quick. Yeah, here we go. The Chariot, Temperance, and the 4 of Cups. So I feel like this really kind of ties into what I was saying, where you're feeling like overwhelmed, overburdened, juggling too much, and the Chariot especially kind of represents our subconscious mind and feeling conflicted and literally being pulled in 2 different directions. And so the Chariot embodies being able to take up the reins and take control of the reins again, of your own life, of your own mind, maybe your own indecisiveness of where you want to go and what you want to do, what quests do you want to embark on. And it just kind of represents, yeah, maybe you're of 2 different minds or conflicting opinions about something, you're feeling indecisive, and this just kind of represents being able to take charge, really examine what do you want, not only on the surface, but within your own subconscious, and being able to harness that and kind of harness that forward momentum presented by the Chariot to propel you in whatever direction you end up choosing. And with the card next to it being Temperance, I think that also kind of ties back to what I was kind of saying with the 7 of Swords, meaning needing to take a step back, because Temperance kind of means everything in moderation, finding that balance of you don't always need to be go, go, go all the time. It's okay to also balance that out with those times of rest and maybe feeling like, yeah, you've been too busy, overwhelmed, taking on too much, and finding that temperance, that sense of balance and harmony within your life and within yourself by being willing to maybe take that step back and acknowledge when you might be trying to do too much, finding that sense of calm, peace, and balance within yourself again. Because with the 4 of Cups, we see this guy sitting under the tree, and he's got the 4 cups surrounding him, but he looks kind of like forlorn or indecisive. He's not looking too cheery there. He looks very pensive or contemplative. So maybe you feel kind of stalled out in your own emotions, in your relationships, in your love life, in your sense of fulfillment. He's got all these things in front of him, but they don't seem to be making him very happy. So it could kind of, I think, tie back to these cards with kind of feeling that sense of not being able to trust anyone, not being able to reach out to anyone, feeling like you're overwhelmed, you're taking on too much, you're not sure where you're going or what you want to do or what the best choice is. And maybe whatever you have been doing or trying to do is just not very fulfilling. It's not making you happy, or you're just kind of bored with it. So I think this guy, he's kind of, just feeling very stagnant, maybe even trapped. He's kind of trapped within these 4 cups, and he almost seems like he doesn't really know what to do with them or what he wants out of them. So maybe you've also been feeling this similar sense of boredom, stagnation, not fulfilled. I know I have definitely kind of been struggling against that, with being, going from work from home to back full-time in the office, working that 9 to 5 grind. Where did all my free time go? Is this really what I want to be doing with my life? So I definitely get that. I get where this card is coming from. It can make one very kind of despondent at times to feel trapped and unfulfilled in what you're doing and what you're taking on in life. So yeah, maybe it's time to kind of cut things away, lay down what's not serving you, and it's okay to kind of take that time to contemplate within, as long as you don't stay in this place. Like, don't get trapped within your own mind and feeling bogged down by things, because you do have the power to take up the sword, cut away anything that's not serving you anymore, and harness those reins of the chariot to pull you forward. And that being said, the next thing I wanted to do is pull from this Beyond Lemuria Oracle card deck. I haven't used it very much at all since one of my very early videos where I did a little show and tell on it. But yeah, I'm really feeling like the healing goddess energy vibes after all of the goddess and spring rituals that we did this last weekend. So I'm feeling really called to pull from this deck to kind of just see what messages of hope, healing, and light that the goddesses and all of our helpful spirits might have to share with us. So I feel like this deck is really good for that kind of like whole light work and energy work stuff. So let's see what it says. Trust your innocence, freedom, and realm bridger. Very interesting. So trust your innocence right off the bat, without even going to the guidebook for this, I'm going to say just means nurturing your inner child. I've definitely been doing a lot of that lately, trying to nurture my inner child, let it come out to play, find that sense of freedom and like not holding yourself back, not feeling self-conscious in the moment, and just having the freedom to play again, to see the beauty and the magic in the world, and to daydream, to use your imagination in order to come up with those new plans and goals. Like, don't be afraid to just kind of dream big is what I'm getting from that. Especially with going into spring and this whole season of like rebirth and renewal, we're getting that refreshed energy of new life. And so I think that definitely also speaks to like a sense of rebirth and innocence for all of us, and just being able to harness that potential for growth and healing this time of year. So let's see what the guidebook says about these. So trust your innocence. It says the keywords are truth, trusting yourself, being real with people, knowing the difference between intuition and paranoia. Oh man, that one is really calling me out. Let me tell you, because with like my anxiety, my like just general anxiety that I deal with day to day. That is definitely one thing that I am slowly having to relearn, is to trust my instincts, because I feel like the anxiety gets in the way of that a lot. When you're kind of worrying about everything and afraid that anything could go wrong at any possible moment, it's kind of hard to be able to trust your instincts, and when your gut is telling you the truth about that kind of stuff, and when it's just the anxiety talking. So I definitely know what it means about relearning the difference between intuition and paranoia. Being able to kind of, accept that maybe your intuition is telling you something and it's not just all in your head, and you're not paranoid if someone really is out to get you. But yeah, uncensored feelings and returning to innocence. For the divinatory meaning, I think that it also really speaks to the overall message I was getting from this reading of learning to trust your inner sense or intuition is, and in addition to that, it means being absolutely honest with yourself. Knowing if, being able to admit if you're taking on too much, if you're not asking for help when you should be, because you don't want to be a burden, you don't want to burden anyone else with your problems, so you're trying to carry it all yourself, feeling conflicted, not sure where you want to go. Maybe you're telling yourself you want one thing when deep down you know it's not true. So yeah, just being able to be honest with yourself about what you're doing and what you want and what you really want to be doing. And going back to the card of freedom, living the life you love, liberation as a shift in perspective, inviting enjoyment and inspiration into your life, discovering what freedom means to you, overcoming limitation. And I think that, also definitely ties into the sense of innocence and inner child, letting that inner child free, letting them out to play. And finally, Realm Bridger. Visionaries, architects of the future, information from other realms, bridging the seen with the unseen, inspiration, seeding a new earth, traversing different states of consciousness, birthing ideas from subtle reality, and journeying. This card is about bridging the realms of the seen and unseen, and I think speaks to that old adage of as above, so below. Once you find maybe that sense of balance and you're bringing your goals and your intentions in alignment with your true self, that's when I think you really bridge the gap and connect to that higher self. It says that you are the pioneer of your life. The way forward may be in your dreams or visions. Be creative. Don't take on the opinions of others. It's time to think and do things a whole other way. After all, as the saying goes, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So yeah, maybe that kind of speaks back to these two cards of you're doing too much and it's okay to reevaluate, to change your mind, to change plans, to let go of some things and focus on others. So that's pretty cool. I think this deck was definitely very useful for those types of messages. If, like I said, you're kind of wanting to know, what can I actively do as far as, light work, healing, harnessing my own power and my own energy. I really like the messages of this deck for that purpose. And then another one I kind of wanted to share that I got for Christmas this year is this little deck on crystals. And not only do they just make cool little flashcards for brushing up on crystals, because each one has a picture of the crystal on the front and then some properties on the back, which I thought was cool. So, alright, which one fell out? I thought it would be cool to just kind of pull some and see what energies and what specific crystals might help us tap into these energies. And this one flew right out of the deck when I was shuffling, which is Sodalite. Friend of the chronic meditator, Sodalite, known by some as poor man's lapis, which does kind of look like lapis there. is a salty deep blue stone speckled and striated with white calcite inclusions. Who needs it? Planners, producers, Virgos. I think it's also tied to Sagittarius when you have a big decision to make. So yeah, it kind of definitely goes back to the Chariot and feeling indecisive. Abandon solution-oriented thinking and trust your intuition, I think, speaks to what was being said in these two cards. So yeah, that's kind of cool. That's pretty accurate. I just thought maybe we'd learn about some cool, fun crystals and their properties, but I think the message is loud and clear coming through on this one and definitely ties into what we were saying. So that's really cool. I think enough said there. I don't think I really need to pull another crystal card. That one just kind of jumped right out and wanted to be seen and heard. So get some sodalite or harness the energy associated with sodalite if you're kind of struggling with all of these things. But I think if we're able to kind of approach spring with this renewed sense of not only wonder but also focus and passion, we might be able to embark on some new projects and kind of do out with the old, in with the new. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to let go and embrace change if that's what you need to do to get ahead and get where you want to be right now. But anyway, I hope that this quick little reading was fun and helpful for you. I thought it was definitely fun to pull from a couple different decks that I don't use very often. And I think we're definitely seeing that goddess, light, life, fertility, and renewal energy coming through with this time of year. I can feel just kind of the shift in the energy as nature's waking up all around us, and wanted to just take this opportunity to kind of channel some of that for you guys and see what we can do with those energies and how we can embrace it this season. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and until the next time, stay classy, pagans.